this guy's garage. Like and subscribe.
Minister, as you know, the CBC falls under your portfolio. It's taxpayer funded, therefore deserving the utmost transparency with regards to how those tax dollars are being used. We had the CBC CEO, Catherine Tate, here at committee just a few weeks ago, and when I asked her about executive bonuses for 23-24 and whether or not they had been given out and how much, she said that they had not been given out, that no bonuses had been granted. However, based on an official report tabled with the House of Commons just in the last little bit, it shows that actually the bonuses have been given out for that year, and it's to the tune of $15 million to the top executives. It works out that an average executive bonus then given to the CBC for 23-24 was $65,000. That's a one-time bonus for the year. On average, $65,000. That's more than the average Canadian makes in a salary. Does it concern you that your hand-picked CEO, Catherine Tate, lied to us here at committee?
Je peux intervenir, Monsieur le Président?
May I respond, Mr. Chair?
Je vais encore répéter ce qui a été dit précédemment.
I will repeat what has been previously said. As a part of the salary over 1,000 employees at CBC Radio-Canada, and part of that depends on meeting performance quotas. For 2023, these decisions are up to the board. And with regards to the CEO of CBC Radio-Canada, we're expecting a recommendation from the board following the study to see whether or not objectives were met, and rather a decision has not been made to date.
The minister is not answering my question. She's choosing to avoid it. The question was, does it concern you, Minister, that the CEO for the CBC, Ms. Catherine Tate, came to this committee a few weeks ago and lied to us? She told us that no bonuses for the year of 23-24 had yet been given out, when in fact a document tabled with the House of Commons shows that $15 million worth of bonuses were given out. Interestingly enough, those bonuses were given out to 100% of the executive team, meaning every single member got their full bonus to the tune of averaging $65,000 a year. Minister, my question is very clear. Does it concern you that the CEO of the CBC came to this committee and lied to us?
Je rejette absolument les affirmations de ma collègue.
My colleague is insulting the CEO of Radio-Canada CBC every time she has the opportunity to do so. There was a letter sent to the committee with all the information that she had already previously given at the committee.
Again, I understand what is stated in the letter. I also understand the official document that's been tabled with the House of Commons. Bonuses were given out to the tune of an average of $65,000 a year to the top executives of the CBC. I'm wondering if it concerns the minister that the head of the CBC, Ms. Catherine Tate, came here and lied to us. Does it concern you?
Encore une fois, je pense que la présidente...
Again, I believe that she had responded to questions on how bonuses were given out and the decisions made for 2022-2023. To my knowledge, for 2024, that ended March 21st, 2024, and a decision has not been made yet.
Minister, I would encourage you then to inform yourself of your file. I have a document that was tabled from the Privy Council with the House of Commons in front of me. It shows that bonuses for 23-24 were given out, that it was to the tune of about $15 million to the executives at the CBC, and it averages about $65,000 just for those within the executive category. Minister, does it concern you that the head of the CBC came here to this committee and lied to us?
Point of order, Mr. Chair.
Point of order, yes.
While I appreciate Ms. Thomas's question, or what she's trying to get at, I think the idea that we are calling somebody a liar when there are facts and evidence that would not necessarily back up that assertion, I think is a bit problematic. And asking the minister to weigh in on whether or not somebody is lying, or on an accusation of a lie, steps outside the bounds of what we should be doing.
Continue, please, Minister.
Écoutez, je vais réitérer les faits que je viens de confirmer.
I'll repeat what I just said. Those bonuses were for 2022, 2023, and not 2023, 2024. 2024 ended on March 31st, 2024. And so I will repeat again that that's part of the employees' salaries. That's part of their working conditions that are linked to meeting performance goals. And they do assessments. And when the Harper government arrived in power, can I finish my answer?
1 minute left, Ms. Thomas. Point of order. Okay, Ms. O'Connell, welcome.
In committee, it is customary that the minister, the witness, is given the same amount of time to answer the question as asked and not to be interrupted. I think the Conservatives are having a bit of a tough math day and maybe didn't want to hear that, but it's important that we respect the rules of this committee.
Ms. Thomas, go ahead with your question. I think you have, a minute left?
Chair, I do have a point of order, though.
Point of order, Ms. Damoff.
Just this morning at the PROC committee, we had the Translation Bureau there, and they were talking about injuries to the translators. And one of the issues is when there's more than one person speaking at the same time. It's extremely difficult and harmful for the translators. Okay,
Thank you. We'll move on. Ms. Thomas, you have exactly 59 seconds left.
Minister, I will make sure that I make that document public so that you can see that it is for the year 23-24. Ms. Tate says that she deserves a bonus, but here's the case. CBC, trust is down, viewership is down, revenue is down. In your opinion, does the CBC CEO, Catherine Tate, deserve a bonus?
Je vais encore rectifier.
I would like to state the facts again because my colleague does not seem to understand the document. These performance bonuses that were given out to over 1,000 employees, that's part of their salary for 2024. That was for the year 2023.
I just would. The question was, does the CBC CEO, Catherine Tate, deserve a bonus when viewership is down, trust is down, and revenue is down? Her performance has been abysmal. Does she deserve a bonus?
Bon, alors, quand on veut tuer un chien.
If we want to put down a dog, we accuse it of having rabies. So let me state the facts. There are many people who use the CBC website, 17 million.
On May 13th, 2024, you announced the appointment of an advisory committee to help you in making future decisions about the CBC and help determine the future. I think we would both agree that there can be partisanship in these halls. You might have even seen some today. And so it's very important, though, that when we make decisions going forward about Radio-Canada and CBC, that it be nonpartisan. Would you agree with that presupposition?
Le diffuseur public appartient d'abord et avant tout au gouvernement.
The public broadcaster belongs to the government and not to a political party. And my decisions are based on Canadians' interests, regardless of their political allegiance. Thank you for that response.
However, I'm a little bit challenged just looking at the individuals who are part of this, because I believe 4 of them are CHPC insiders. They had a large amount of time with the CBC, are deeply connected with the CBC, and one is actually a Trudeau scholar, of course, then bearing the name of the current Prime Minister, but named after his father. And so we see deep connections with Liberal insiders and with respect to the Trudeau family, and we've seen a history of this. Are you not concerned, as I am, about the partisanship of this advisory board?
Ben, premièrement, c'est vous qui êtes en train de faire de la partisanerie autour du...
You're the one who's making this partisan regarding the public broadcaster, not me. I find it interesting that my colleague is saying that there should have been, or rather that nobody who worked at CBC Radio-Canada should be a part of that when we're talking about a public broadcaster and we're talking about the importance of how it functions. I'm quite surprised. The committee is made up of experts with different backgrounds.
My assumption, even stepping away a little bit from the partisanship stuff, is that you would want a fresh voice, and we've got a series of CBC insiders as well as a Trudeau scholar. That doesn't give you some pause, Minister?
Ben, quand vous parlez de CBC insiders, encore.
When you talk about CBC insiders, you're the ones making this partisan. This committee is here to help us to talk about things that are good for Canadians. A quick and easy question. Do you agree with what your colleague Francis Drouin said at the Official Languages Committee? My committee apologized, so no. Should he step down or remove himself from the Official Languages Committee? It's up to the people to decide, and I believe that there was a vote on that. Thank you, Madam Minister. 7 officials receive an average salary with their bonuses of $580,000 per year. That's almost double your salary and more than what the Prime Minister earns. The Taxpayers Federation has launched action against CBC Radio-Canada to know the proportion of this bonus. Is this lack of transparency from CBC Radio-Canada? I find it interesting that my colleague brings this up. I believe that he was in government at the time when the Harper government arrived in 2006, and they offered an increase of 6% to different corporations, including to CBC. He said that they should be competitive with the private sector. So I believe that now you're in disagreement with this. There's a lack of transparency. Is it normal to not know the salary and a bonus given to these executives? These salary grids are public. The Canadian Federation was not able to have access to this, so it's not public. Madam Minister, in the 90s, the Liberal government cut by $4 million CBC Radio-Canada. That represents about $750 million today. Does your government intend to do the same? We are currently working on CBC Radio-Canada's financial structure because they are facing the same issues as the private sector with the decrease of ad revenue. We are also looking at governance, transparency, accountability of the public broadcaster to ensure that there is a proper relationship with Canadians. And in 2024, in the era of disinformation and digital platforms, what is the role of a proper broadcaster to offer services to Canadians? Thank you, Madam Minister. Will you have the same courage as the Chrétien government to cut $400 million, which represents $750 million now? I stated that it is irresponsible for a government today when digital media has such an impact. It is irresponsible, and we're not going to do that. Can you tell us the list of contributions given to organizations, funding that was given? Can you share this with the committee? It is public and it is on the website. Madam Minister, Google, $100 million. Are we the first ones to have signed an agreement with Google? We're the first country to have a transparent agreement. The government that you represent, $178 million. Google put on the table $100 million. And so there were no negotiations. This shows that Google does not negotiate, that you either take it or leave it. In accepting $100 million, you've created an international precedent. I think it's interesting that my colleague is concerned by this because he did everything that he could to block the Online Streaming Act. This agreement is transparent. Are you not aware of the international precedent? This agreement is transparent, and we know how much the different platforms will be receiving and how much will be given to Canadian media, whereas that is not the case in any other countries. Inaudible.
De plus, Madame la ministre, vous n'avez pas gagné un sou de plus que Google a offert à l'entente initiale.
C'est très impoli.
You are being very impolite. You're stating things. You're not allowing me to respond. This is the first agreement that is transparent, that we know who the money will be going to. And if there are better agreements that are signed elsewhere, we will reopen Canada's agreement because we want to ensure that web giants, including Google, contribute and support our media. But I would like to remind you that you voted against this legislation and you voted against $100 million from Google.